Hello, this is Sandro Forte. I have a very important question for you today. What is success? And more importantly, can success be learned? And I mean subconsciously learned, because I would suggest it can. Now think back to the time when you learnt to ride a bicycle or drive a car or swim. And I also want you to think about that day when, possibly a very long time ago, your parents typically would show you that by putting one foot in front of another and maintaining a bit of balance, you could get from one place to another in life more effectively than the way you were doing it before. And the whole concept here is that we, by repetition, learned to acquire a new skill. And we learned very quickly that we could find a way to do something more effectively than the way we did it before. And what we did, having been shown how to do it, we simply applied that process over and over and over again until we perfected that new habit, something that we now do 1,000 times a day possibly without thinking about it. And this is the basic concept around learning success subconsciously. So in part one of this Mindchanger series, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the concept of learning success. Now, one of the things that you may have heard me say before is that I'm a great believer that people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. And if you really think about that, that's true. I'm not a great advocate of the SMART goal system, for example, because I do think we should set a few unrealistic goals. So when thinking about goals for the first time, possibly, or even if you're reviewing these goals that you have right now, those New Year's resolutions that you put down on a piece of paper at the start of the year, and historically you get to the end of the year and the little voice on your shoulder says, don't worry, there's always next year. Because isn't it true, the vast majority of us unfortunately fail to achieve our goals. And there's reasons for that, which we'll cover in other videos. But for now, I want to share this little idea with you that will transform the way you approach those goals that would otherwise be in your conscious mind, those goals where interference gets in the way, where members of the discouragement club talk you out of actually applying some of those things that you think about and applying therefore a level of interference. So what I'd like you to do is to buy or cut up into small pieces of paper 20 to 30 things that you can write on, maybe postcards, maybe pieces of paper, and I'm going to challenge you now to write down 20 to 30 goals. Now, before you start thinking, I don't have 20 to 30 goals, I'd like you to think about all the different aspects of your life, physical, mental, physical, the business, time you want to spend with your family, all of those frustrations, all of those goals that keep being repeated every single year because you never quite achieve them. Just write down 20 to 30 goals. But before you do that, because I don't want you to write down those goals on the pieces of paper or the postcards just yet, just jot them down on a piece of paper. And in part two, we're going to look at what you do with those goals to make sure that you turn all of those goals into subconscious habits. Just as you did all of those years ago with all of the things you're now doing without thinking. And this is something that once you apply this as an extra layer to all the things you do in life and business, you will grow exponentially, mentally, physically, in terms of business and all the other things you strive to do. So look out for part two coming very soon.